But I gotta tell you, I'm just tired of work and all the other shit we all deal with. I don't know about y'all, but I'm tired. It's just like enough of this crap. So by now, many of you've heard last night we had this guy who shot up a couple of buildings in Maine, of all places, which that was weird. Um, it turns out, at least from what initial reports are saying, the guy's not only a reservist, he's a firearms instructor who apparently has been undergoing mental health help, if you will, like therapy and meds because, hey, Suburban, hey, Dan, because he was hearing voices. Not like when you think in your head and you think in words, right? Think words, but I don't hear like someone physically talking to me. And apparently this guy was. Now, I don't know about Maine, but hey, hillbilly, in Texas, if you're in the military or you're a reservist and a firearms instructor, and you start getting medicated or going to shrinks because you're hearing voices and hallucinating, you will not be a soldier nor a firearms instructor for very long. And yet here we are. And that's just weird. Who the hell dropped the ball? Apparently they've been had reports about the guy. You know, instinctively being a conspiracy theorist, I'm like, flag. But then you think about it, it could just be incompetence. Someone just screwed up and did not pay attention to the fact that this guy was cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. But there's been a lot, and I keep iterating this on videos. We talked about it the other night on the live with Survivalist and Vision. We don't keep in mind to watch our local. Here's a thought. That would be a funny cartoon, a t-shirt with a potato going, come on, man, while he's pushing the little red button. Literally a potato with hands and legs like a Mr. Potato Head. That would be funny. There's my cartoonish sense of humor just kicked off there. There's so many little blips on the radar, so many things going on. The shooting's timing is just weird. The timing of our October 4th emergency. So, no, I'm back. Yeah, it's the connection. When I'm driving around, there's certain dead spots. So either they totally screwed up, or they were incompetent, or Moss guys did a really good job about hiding. All right, am I back? It was repeating the same words. That's not cool. Well, that's not bueno. I battle out here. Well, we don't have very good connection out here anyway. In general, we're kind of out in the boonies. It's a city in the boonies. So you add to that, I'm trying to live stream, and that just makes it so much worse. But there are a lot of little things, thank you, Coffee, going on all at the same time. And it's very easy for all of us to get distracted. Now, the Angry Prepper posted a good one. Is, the Russians have decided to leave one of our nuclear treaties, probably because we pissed them off or NATO pissed them off. So the U.S. decided to pop a little nuke, or is planning to pop a nuke in Nevada. And it's like, are we back in the Cold War? Did anybody not read those books and realize that this is just a bunch of puffery and bullshit? But apparently, we're doing this now. And I just think it's funny that, they're announcing all these drills. I think Ontario Prepper just posted, I think it was one of his community posts, of sub hunters were over the Great Lakes. I guess they were practicing in the Great Lakes, and they're deep lakes, so this probably makes a lot of sense. There's been a lot of little things going on, and I've said in the past video, pay attention to your area, pay attention to the changes in your area, whether it's people, whether it's traffic, whether it's weird fires. It could also be along the lines of, you're seeing military aircraft, you're seeing weird stuff. Those are usually precursors. No, they did not find Jimmy Hoffa. Although that would be funny if that... I'm pretty sure Jimmy Hoffa will never be found. I bet he's incinerated somewhere by the mob, because the mob was super pissed at him. But there's so many little things going on. It's hard for all of us to keep track. And what it does, it causes people to stress out. And I'm wondering if this guy up in Maine who shot up his town, I mean, he could just be a crackhead or an asshole or completely loco, but it's distinctly possible the guy is freaking out. People are acting absolutely bizarre in the streets lately. They don't know how to act. Acid bath. Yeah, or they burned him up or something. They don't know how to behave. Or they're freaking out and they're just making the weirdest decisions. And I think it's because they're allowing all these blips on the radar to just overwhelm them. They just can't compute what's going on, and so they absorb everything, and they freak out. It's kind of like when those little high school experiments, when you do the reflecting mirror and reflect the sun to that glass of water to make it boil. I don't know if you guys did that experiment. You put enough of the sunlight on the water and it boils faster, right? Basically a solar oven. And that's basically what people are doing to themselves. So it's super important for folks not to get to the point where they're absolutely freaking out. My husband swears they are injecting people with something and then flipping the switch. Oh, it's a Mike Kappa Ultra. It's not, I didn't say it the way it's normally said, but yeah. That was an old CIA experiment, which would absolutely work now. Now, the other thing I'm wondering is if they identify people who are super unstable on social media, right? Because you go on chats enough and you see some really insane shit in Reddit or Twitter, well, now X or wherever you go. And I wonder if, someone just says, you know what, I bet we can provoke that person into flipping out and burning down a building. So they get people focused on that person. They peck on that person to freak out. It's purely a hypothesis, but it's completely possible. How many kids have committed suicide or have cut themselves or lashed out at another kid because someone on social media poked at them enough to provoke them to act? So I don't know. That guy could be just cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. And they don't even need to give them meds. We've been medicating our kids since the tail end of Gen X. Because when I was a young parent, one of my boys would have been diagnosed ADD. He just had way too much energy and he was a shit. So people were like, well, are you going to get him meds? I'm like, no, he's smart as hell. I'm not going to get him meds. I'm going to put him in sports and burn off his stupid. And then I'm going to sit him down and make him do homework after he does his running. And that seemed to work okay. I have a functional young adult now. But there's so many kids I've seen, friends of my kids, who on the stuff before Adderall, what was it, Ritalin, I think they called it. And they're still tweaky. They're 20-year-old kids, and they're like, and you're like, what the hell is wrong with you, son? And then my daughter will be, oh, hey, Water Tiger. Yeah, I know, Joe. My stream took a massive dump earlier. My daughter or my sons will be like, oh, yeah, no, he's ADD. They've been giving him Ritalin and shit since he was like 5. Well, and Suburban, you're 100% right, and I'll tell you why. And I've said it before. What do they say? If you want to quit smoking, it takes you, hey, Nunya, it takes you 8 weeks, 12 weeks to quit smoking, right? They basically say to quit a bad habit takes a certain amount of time. Well, the lockdowns were 23 months, depending on where you lived, right? Texas was like 2 months, and then they were like, fuck this. Florida was the same way, right? Oh yeah, Dan, absolutely. And they lock people down for 2 years. If you only need 2 or 3 months to create a new habit, and you give somebody 2 years to just bake in solitude, and at least here in Texas, I have a backyard, right? Even if I was restricted to my home for some reason, right? I could go in my backyard. None of that is very cool. You need to post pictures of the turkeys and chickens. I could go in my backyard. I can get some sun, have a coffee, let the dogs run. But imagine people in apartments, the old folks who were in the folks' home that they couldn't get out. They would lose their marbles, right? They would get depressed. They'd get suicidal. I mean, I honestly wonder, and we probably won't see true numbers for another 5 years. How did suicide go? Where did child abuse, domestic abuse, violence, alcoholism, because people just got put in boxes. Now, I think it backfired. If anyone was trying to manipulate society, I think they created a bigger division, because now you have two people. In the past, you always had folks along a spectrum. Now I think it's basically either they're like, I drink the Kool-Aid, or you have that group who's like, I question everything now. Everything is now sus. Even if they weren't like that before, they see how it all played out, and they're like, you lied to us. We did what you told us to do because we thought it was, good faith information, and y'all screwed us. Now I don't trust anything you say. Screw you. I'll go get the Rona 15 more times. I don't care, because I don't trust what you're saying. I don't know if that's happening now. I think it is. But there's so many blips on the radar. People are they're just freaking out. They, I've seen it in the chats. So they all went up. Yeah. So honestly, folks, there's a lot going on. Angry Prepper pointed out, the escalations with the rhetoric, the way they're talking. A lot of this is posturing. A lot of this is done for their own people. The problem is, militant, you're absolutely right. It's wild AF out there, because yes, divorces, spouse abuse, and not just men beating up women. There are women beat up men, or women will beat up the kids. My son on deployment, he said, dealing with the military families locked in, the domestics went through the roof. There was fighting everywhere. He said it was bad. It was exhausting. There were a lot of suicides. And this isn't a military base where there's structure. In the general society, there's no structure. People could be assholes, right? I think combine that with a loosening of quality of life laws, right? They don't afford, you can walk around with your junk out in certain cities in America, kids, women going by, and, somebody's got his yin yang out, or her hoo-ha out, and the cops can't do anything unless you're doing something, like you're peeing on someone or you're being sexual. You just walk around with no clothes. Well, Joe, that's structure, Joe. It's a routine, but you maintain your own routine. Not everyone's capable of doing that. They can't. A lot of people in general, society in general, a lot of these folks need to be told what to do. We refer to them as sheeple. And I'm not saying like wear a seatbelt or don't speed and hit kids in the school zone. I'm talking about general day-to-day, like get your ass out of bed every morning and do your business. And a lot of people don't function like that. I'm hearing from coworkers that college-age kids are the new hires who were in college during the Rona. They're like, yeah, it was really weird, and people started acting insane. A lot of people don't shower. Yeah, ooh. Oh, y'all, we went to a gun show last week, and there was a very tall man, big man, and he clearly has not done laundry nor maintained hygiene for an extended period. And my wife's nose is super sensitive. Like her brother calls her hound dog because she can smell, like she can come into a room and go, someone has cinnamon. Like just nobody else has smelled it yet. And I'll tell you what, she walked past and she looked like, you know, when Pikachu gets zapped by the little dragon and she gets twirly eyes? That's what my wife looked like with the twirly eyes. She was like, "Eh." And I was just like, I caught a whiff of the guy and I was like, oh, and that's just bad. So I kind of pinned my wife with my hands and like maneuvered her away from the offending party. But yeah, people don't take baths. They don't, maintain hygiene. And the guy didn't just come from work. Like he looked like he just woke up. I'm like, dude, just woke up. You were at the house. Go take a bath, carajo. Anyway, but folks, there's a lot of things on the radar, and it's freaking people out. Now, I've mentioned situational awareness, right? And we all talk about it. Understanding the rhythm of your area, the neighborhood, changes in the patterns of your town. Gets physically ill. That's not bueno. Patterns in your town, both demographics, traffic patterns, aircraft, new vehicles. If you pay attention long enough, I encourage everyone, a couple of times a week, walk your neighborhood in the morning or in the night. And you could have music if you want, just don't play it so loud you can't hear what's around you. Take a walk. What does your neighborhood look like? What does it sound like? Hey, Johnny, who comes in and out? Because then when you get something strange, you get a change. It's easier to notice when you pay attention. The other thing, to Joe's comment about routine, have structure. I think a lot of people who freak out or are freaking out is because they have no structure. They don't have, okay, there's two old ladies in a little SUV, and they're absolutely confused in this parking lot. And they're making circles and they're arguing, pointing to different stores. As long as they don't hit my truck, I'm happy because I'm parked. But that was just funny. Like these two old ladies, they probably are out to go get coffee and go shopping, and they have no idea where they're going. I'm in the mountains, nobody around. Johnny, that's a good thing. I can't do extreme body or I have to leave a market because it started retching due to smells. Okay, then you're exactly like my wife. She will catch a whiff of someone, and if it's really foul, yeah. But the dude, that's where I'm going. Thank you. Yeah, absolutely. You create a routine. If you have to write it down, set it, at the very least, set an alarm, right? Even during Rona, I got laid off once in a 26-year career because the company cratered. I still got up 5:30 in the morning. I didn't dress in, business attire, I put on jeans and a clean shirt. And I did something. I went and cooked breakfast for the kids. I cleaned the house. I maintained the vehicle. There were job fairs and, other events, networking type stuff. I went out, but I maintained my discipline. Every night, had dinner at the same time, went to the gym. I didn't stop going to the gym. There was one of the churches was having like a networking times. There would be prayer, and then they'd have coffee and donuts, and people would trade notes trying to find each other work. And the pastor had come to me on one occasion and said, keep an eye on those two guys in the back. He said when the big layoffs happened, the first couple of guys, this was back in 2015, first couple of times they showed up, they were in suit and tie. He said, look at them now. And the guys looked awful. They looked literally like they had been working in their garage and showed up. But they weren't doing anything. They weren't shaven. Once reeked of booze in the middle of the day, which there are times for that. But he said they just fell apart and there was no structure. And he said, that's why I'm doing this, because it gives people somewhere to go. And he says, at least I can put eyes on them and we can talk to them and see if maybe we can help them out. But maintain a structure, some kind of routine in your life. It's going to really help you. Well, Dan, yeah, absolutely. Like, you get up, you walk the dog. That's a routine. Hey, Psycho Billy, what's going on? Some Psycho Billy named Chuck. Go out and walk the neighborhood. Go out and cook something every other night. One of my routines during the Rona, was I like red wine with Italian food. You know, if I was cooking, I made some Italian, I'd have a glass of red wine, I'd read the news after we ate dinner. I'd get some, or maybe a whiskey, and I'd go through the news. 7 o'clock every night just to see what was going on. And it was just became part of my routine. And when you have a routine, you have that structure. It's funny. I like it. I like the name change. It does give you some clarity. So, folks, this is another thing besides situational awareness, besides doing your preps. Have a routine, have a structure, even if it's something simple. And if you have difficulty doing it, if you take your phone and just set alarm every other day, every morning, walk the dog, at noon, check the news. Give yourself something to do when that phone goes off. You're like, I gotta go check the news. It's my daily routine. And routines change, right? You get a new job, something changes, you have to change your routine around. But have some kind of structure. Yeah, dude's absolutely right. The discipline and structure go together. And if you start living a discipline, and you may have to write it down, you may have to set alarms to do it. Same with the prepping. Saturday afternoons is my dedicated prep times. I do little things during the week. Saturday afternoon, I'll pick a subject like, okay, I'm going to do canned foods this week. Pull all the canned foods and reorganize them, and then take anything expired or spoiled out. If some are kind of on that threshold of should I keep them, should I throw them, I put them on the counter and I cook them that day or the next day. Get them used, right? But that's my time, and I have it designated, my shooting range every other Friday. If no business work comes up, I take my cell phone if they need me and I go to the range. Now, whether it's an indoor and outdoor, it depends on the mood, the weather, what I feel like at that time. But I go out, that's part of my routine. Once you start doing that, it gives you that sense of structure. My experience is I've seen people lower their personal stress. They freak out less. If you have a friend who's struggling, tell them, hey, what's your daily routine? You see someone, they're not shaving, they're not keeping themselves, they're kind of losing their marbles. It's like, hey, what are you doing, dude? Lady, what do you do? Every morning, what do you do when you get up? What do you do? Oh, I just watch TV and stay in the bed. No. Get your ass out of bed. Do something. Go for a walk. Go play with the dog. Go do a crossword puzzle. Do something. I also think that increases your lifespan, because all the old folks in my family who actually kept busy lived into their 90s. I mean, we've got a lot of guys in my family lived 92, 93, 94. The ones that didn't maintain a discipline, they struggled with their health very young, and there was no need. They were all over the map. So folks, don't let the blips on the radar make you crazy. Instead, give yourself structure. You probably already have it, but if you don't, write something down. Pick a time and say, every day at 7 o'clock, I'll read the news for 1 hour, I'll watch YouTube for 1 hour, or whatever. Every morning at 8, I'm going to take the dog for a walk. Yes, Psychobilly, you couldn't have said it better. It's inertia, right? A rolling stone is easy to keep it rolling and keep it speeding up. It's getting that boulder to move in the first place, overcoming that friction. That's the hard part, folks. So look, if you take anything today, if you're struggling with stress or you're freaking out a bit with the news, give yourself some structure. Put some alarms on your phone, on your computer, whatever it is. Hell, the old style little ding alarm clock. Get your butt up, go for a walk, take notes, bring a notepad. I actually, when I walk the neighborhood or the county parks, I put a notepad in my backpack, so I see something interesting, I might write something down, or something pops in my head like, wow, I really need to do this chore. I forgot this. Sit down and write it out. But folks, keep structure. Don't let the blips on the radar overcome you to where you start freaking out. Because I honest to God think this guy who just shot up Maine, it could be some conspiracy shit, which is always possible. It could just be a dude who absolutely, he went from red pill to black pill to whatever pill, and he just went right down the, yeah. Hey, Kevin, what's going on? Just get those things done. Give yourself a little bit of structure, and don't make yourself crazy. If nothing else, get a good book every night. Break open the book, have a glass of wine, water, whatever it is you prefer to drink, and dedicate an hour a night to learn something new. Reading, not watching videos, read a book or get a PDF book, whatever. And just keep yourself structured, keep yourself disciplined. And if you need ideas, reach out to other people in the chat. You could shoot me an email. I'd be happy to help you out with that. I try to respond to emails within a day or so. But yeah, you folks, look, be safe, be blessed out there. Pay attention to your surroundings. Make that part of your routine. Walk around the neighborhood, drive around the town. Take the long way to the grocery store just to see what's going on. The more you know about what your area is like, the more you can pick out changes, and the more gives you a sense of routine. Like, okay, everything looks the same as it did yesterday. This is not a bad thing. So, anyway, ladies and gentlemen, you guys be good, be safe, be blessed. I will see you all later on, and keep out of trouble if you can, or at least don't get caught. Anyway, be good, guys.